Dylan Raiola schedules an official visit to Georgia for the first weekend in June 2nd. Why is this significant? Well, number one, it's his first official. Everything he's been doing now is considered an unofficial visit. Official visits, you only get 5 of them. Those are the ones the school can pay for everything and can set up everything and do everything on the school level. And the other thing that's significant about this to me, Steve Sipple, is June 2nd is a long time from now.
Right.
And I think there's this narrative out there that he's a silent commit or could commit sooner rather than later.
Nebraska.
But if you go out and report that you're taking an official on June 2nd, what does that mean?
Well, it means he's not a silent commit to Nebraska. That's got to go away. I don't even think it's prominent at this point. So what's it mean? It means he's taking his recruitment deep into the summer for sure. I'm not saying deep into the summer, but into the summer. This will be his 7th time to Georgia. It'll be his 7th trip.
He's been in Nebraska a lot though, too.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to rankle you, Sean. I'm just saying, yeah, they've talked, Dominic's talked to me a lot about Georgia. They did some baseball stuff in the state of Georgia last summer, I believe, and they would end up going to Athens, unofficial visits. Now, yeah, here we go with an official. Dominic has been quoted now on the record as saying, man, it's just elite. Everything they do is elite, and it's so competitive. And Dylan likes that competitiveness. So you can imagine, and in Kirby, I've read articles about what has Kirby Smart done at Georgia. Why is that program been able to ascend? Well, it's partially that. Like, for instance, they have bloody practices on Tuesday, not literally bloody, but they're really, Sean, they're full contact Tuesdays.
Not to be the old Nebraska guy here, but that's how it probably used to be here at one point.
Oh, it was here. Yeah. Full contact Tuesdays are famous down there. And so Kirby, I think, ramped up competition. It's probably very similar to Alabama now in that way. Culture, well, it's maybe surpassed Alabama, but it's similar for sure. So yeah, that's big news. Now, will he officially visit USC? My guess is yes. I think he wants to officially. We're talking about Dylan Raiola. I think he wants to visit Oregon.
He's going out there the 29th. That
April 29th.
Yeah, and
April 29th.
April 29th is, as of now, that's an unofficial. That's the Oregon spring game.
Okay.
You can take an official in April, but that's not, at least as of today, an official. There are very few players, and I talked to Brandon Baker about this because Brandon Baker, the number 1 tackle in the country, he plans to probably hold out until December. He told me
December.
And we discussed this. Like, there's not a lot of players that carry that kind of leverage.
Meaning they could take it that deep.
Yeah, if you're in, no knock on a 3-star type recruit or whatnot, but there's spots. Like, schools will have only so many spots, and you have to know that as a recruit. Like, your seat at the restaurant table could go quickly. You better, if you got a chance to get a seat at the nice restaurant in town and you want to eat there, you better go there.
So if you're Baker, you can wait because they'll reserve a seat.
We're like, yeah, Dylan Raiola, Brandon Baker, they pull out a table from the back if they want to come, and they just put it in the restaurant. Like, remember Goodfellas when he shows up in the restaurant through the back door and they put the table right in the front.
Yeah, just saw
it. That's Dylan Raiola.
Yeah, they're playing that on one of those stations right now that plays movies over and over. So it was
good movie, by the way.
Pretty good. But yeah, the Dylan Raiola thing, you're right. That was pretty big news today that he set that June 2 official visit to Georgia.
And there's some Nebraska fans on the Red Sea Scrolls on a HuskerOnline that have like, doesn't mean that. I mean, I interpret that as he's doing it. Like, why would he schedule that and not want to take the officials?
I think he's going.
That would, to me, the Georgia people I've talked to from the get-go, their feel from Georgia was that there was going to be a round of officials taken after this spring, tour of visits.
I don't think that there's a couple things that come to mind, Sean. It's pretty well established at this point, but I know Dominic pretty well. I just don't think he would operate that way. I don't think he'd play that sort of game. What I'm saying is, I don't think they would publicly say they're going to take an official to Georgia, knowing that they're not. Well, I don't think they do that. And number 2, and this is probably more important, they enjoy this process. And I don't say that in a bad way. They're huge college football fans. They get a chance to go on these official visits, and see these programs in a very intimate way, and know all the intricacies, and talk to Kirby Smart, who's on top of the college football world, talk to Lincoln Riley, go to Nebraska, talk to a program that's desperately trying to get back and wants to lean on him to do it. And by the way, his dad played here and his uncle's here. It's they don't look at it as, oh God, this is really stressful. It's they're enjoying this process. So the fact that they're kind of taking it deep doesn't really surprise me.
There is an argument though, like if he's trying to help the school that he's going to go to, wouldn't you want to be committed a little earlier? Because a lot of guys are going to commit by June.
Good point.
And so
that's a good point.
The bang that he brings to your recruiting class, whoever lands Dylan Raiola, that bang comes with other players. And the longer you go, a lot of those players might be squeezed to make the decisions.
Right. And then you lose them. I understand that. I don't know. I mean, I always get a little uncomfortable with that discussion, because what are you doing at that point? You're putting a lot of pressure on Dylan Raiola to be the lead recruiter now. So not only does he have to lead your program back at the quarterback position, by the way, we need you to land a bunch of guys for us. I mean, I don't know, Sean. I guess I'm a little bit, I'd be a little protective of the kid in that way. Like, what if they don't get those kids? Then is it Dylan Raiola's fault at that point?
Yeah,
see what I'm saying?
It's a slippery slope, though, if you're holding spots for him and other guys.
I got it. I understand.
Because
I just sort of cringe when you start down this road of, if he commits now, then he can bring in all these other players. Like, is there anything else you want him to do? You want to have him work on the defense too? I
mean, his power to reach out to kids.
It's big.
It's big.
I understand that.
It's impactful.
Yeah.